We're about to turn to Yudches Amud Beis. We're on the last line on Yudches Amud Aleph. And now we'll give a little bit of an introduction to a Mishnah in Masechet Megillah. And this Mishnah, which is on Daf Hey, organizes the days for Megillah reading in 3 different categories. One category is called Krachim Hamukafim Choma Mimos Yeshua Ben Nun, and they read the Megillah on the 15th of Adar. Then we get to the Ayaros Gedolos She'ena Mukafis Choma, otherwise known as the Prozos. They will read the Megillah on the 14th of Adar. Then we get to the Bnei Kfarim. They can't read it locally. They don't have the scholarship. Again, they didn't have printed Megillahs in those days. So they will read it together with the Prozim when they come into the big cities on market days, on Mondays and Thursdays. That was the big kula on behalf of the Bnei HaKfarim. Afal Picha Amru Makdimim Velo Ma'achrim. We will have situations in which we'll be Makdim Kriyas HaMegillah, but nevertheless, we will never be Ma'acher Kriyas HaMegillah, be after its Zman. And here we turn to Daf Yudches Amud Beis. Now, what's the deal on those days that they were Makdim, which we'll explain in a minute, as far as the Iser Hesped V'Tainus is concerned? And we now establish, based on a Mishnah on Daf Hey and Masechet Megillah, Mutarim BeHesped V'Tainus. Amos. The Gemara wants to analyze that Mishnah in Megillah. When exactly, which day in Adar and which group are we talking about? And they were Makdim. Ilema B'nei Chamesar, if you talk about the walled cities, and they are meant to read the Megillah on the 15th, Vikakari Lebar Basar, they were Magdim, and they read it together with the cities, the open walled cities, the non-walled cities, on the 14th of Adar. Mishari. We do have a din of Kedima to be Makdim, but not with regard to the Bnei HaKrachim. They have to read it on the 15th. Baksiv, and it says, "B'Megillas Taanit, Yom Arba Sarbo, Yom Chamisha Sarbo, Yom Puraya Inu." These 2 days, the 40, 50 odd days of Purim. And you're not allowed to have a hesped on these days. The Amar Rava, and Rava explains that when it says in Megillas Taanit that Hesped and Taanit are prohibited for those who read the Megillah on Yudalit, it's only on Yudalit. For those who read the Megillah on Tesvav in the walled cities, that's only on Tesvav. And Rava says, I don't need that halacha because that's already written in the Mishnah, that these 2 calendar days, the 14th and the 15th, are Yemei Mishta V'Simcha, which generates an Iser Hesped V'Tainus. Elo, what is this Megillas Taanit teaching me here? Lesser Eshel Zeh B'Zeh V'Eshel Zeh B'Zeh. Meaning that the Bnei HaKrachim are not allowed to fast or eulogize on the 14th, and the Bnei HaProzim are not allowed to eulogize or fast on the 15th. Basically, there are 2 days of Purim for everybody, the 14th and the 15th. Now, the Gemara thinks at this point, if let's say you live in a walled city, but you happen to be on the 14th in an unwalled city, a Prozos, then you could be Makdim and read it on the 14th. And the answer is no. You can't tell me that it's one of the Bnei HaKrachim that happens to be in the city on the 14th, and he read it on the 14th, because clearly the pasuk teaches me that for those who have to read it on the 14th have to read it on the 14th. Those who have to read it on the 15th have to read it on the 15th. So again, we're looking now for an alternative explanation of the heter hesped v'tainus in the case of Kedimas HaMegillah. The Ella B'nei Arbesa. These are the residents of the unwalled cities who read the Megillah on the 14th, and V'kakarle B'tfleisa, and they read it on the 13th. They were mocked in it. Rashi explains, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Just 1 second. Let me work this out here. No, I didn't make a mistake. Oh, right. I got it. What happens is when the Bnei Akfarim come into town, so if let's say they come in on the 14th of Adar, but it is a Tuesday, so in that case, they're going to be mocked in and read the Megillah on the 13th of Adar, because that's a Monday, and they come into the big cities for the marketplace on Monday and Thursday. So the Bnei Akfarim have to read the Megillah now on the 13th of Adar, and let's say the Bnei A'ir, the locals, read it together with the Bnei Akfarim, or one of them did. V'kakari le'b'tfleisa. So it's a Bnei Arbasar. His din is to read on the 14th. He read it together with the Bnei Akfarim on the 13th. And the Mishnah says that the 13th of Adar is mutter behesped v'tainus. Gemara says that's impossible, because Yom Nikanor, who there's a great celebration at the destruction of Nicanor, who was an enemy of the Jewish people, as we'll soon see. And God brought him his revenge upon him on the 13th of Adar. So that is a day that's also behesped v'tainus, and then we're back stuck with the Mishnah in Megillah that they were mocked him, and it's mutter behesped v'tainus. So it's the 14th guys who were mocked him 13th. No, that's Yom Nikanor. There would be no heter of tainus and hesped. Ella. So we have to offer another interpretation of the Mishnah. B'nei Arbesar. So we're talking about those who live in the Prozim and should be reading it on the 14th. The Kakarle B'Tresa, but they read it on the 12th, 2 days early. And what was the Metzias that they read it 12th? That the 14th of Adar was on a Wednesday. And therefore they were mocked him to read it 2 days earlier on a Monday, the Yom Hashuk, which was the 12th of Adar. Gemara says that couldn't be mutter behesped v'tainus because Yom Turyanos, who everybody knows that's Yom Turyanos. The Gemara is going to tell us about another enemy of the Jewish people who was destroyed on the 12th of Adar, and therefore the 12th of Adar is also behesped v'tainus. Elolav. How do we explain this Mishnah in Megillah? The Kakari le b'chadesar. We're now back to the 11th of Adar. When do you read it on the 11th of Adar? If the 14th of Adar is on a Sunday, and you always go backwards to an earlier day, so you're going to have to go back 3 days earlier to Thursday, and that's going to be the 11th of Adar, which is the earliest time you could ever read the Megillah. Udaka Amrit, Yom Turyanusu. And now you ask me, but the 12th of Adar is a celebration because of Yom Turyanus. Yom Turyanus Gufe Bitule Bitlua. The Chachamim revoked the status of the 12th of Adar as a holiday. And they were matir Taanit and Hesped. And why? Because another tragedy took place on the 12th of Adar. V'negubo Shmaya v'Achia Achi. These were great pious Jews that were murdered by the enemy. Rashi says we don't know who they are, but the Aruch, which I don't find right this second, the Aruch says this is Harugei Lud. Okay, we'll talk about Harugei Lud in a minute. That's the Sugim Psachim. Ki Hadar Rav Nachman Gozer Tanisa B'Treisar. Rav Nachman ordained a Taanit Tzibur on the 12th of Adar because of a tzara that took place. Amulei Rabbanan said, how can you do such a thing? It's Yom Turyanusu, it's a holiday. Amalahus, Rav Nachman responded, Yom Turyanus Gufe Bitule Bitlua. The Chacham were mevatel, it hold v'nergu bo Shmaya v'Achia Achi. Now the Gemara continues to raise a question. So you want to tell me that they were mevatel Yom Turyanus, and there's no longer an Easter Hesped V'Tainus on the 12th of Adar. Chacham were mevatel that day of Yom Turyanus. Typically, there should be in any event an Easter Hesped V'Tainus on the 12th of Adar. Mishum Davi le Yom Shalifnei Nikanor. Nikanor, we said, was on the 13th of Adar. And the day before the 13th of Adar, insofar as the 13th of Adar is a day of celebration as established by Megillas Taanit, the day before is also B'Taanit. So therefore, Muchach me'amisha she'itiru lisanos b'yud beis b'Adar, that the Mishnah says they allowed Taanit on the 12th of Adar because Yom Shalifneim is mutter. And that's against Rabbi Yossi, because Rabbi Yossi said Yom Shalifneim, even on a day that's also only B'Tainus, is also according to Rabbi Yossi, but Rabbi Yochanan would probably follow this Mishnah against Rabbi Yossi. It's a Stam Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan always passes like a Stam Mishnah. And this Stam Mishnah never accepted Rabbi Yossi of Yom Shalifnei also. And that's why the 12th of Adar, even though it's Yom Shalifnei Shloshes Rei Adar, which is the festival of Nikanor, of the demise of Nikanor, it's mutter b'hesped v'tainus. That's against Rabbi Yossi. Amar Rav Ashi, Hashta iu gufei batlua is mishum yom nikanor nekum v'nigzar. The Chachamim were mevatel the 12th of Adar as a celebration. They were matir Taanit on the 12th of Adar because of the death, the execution of two great pious Jews. And now you're going to tell me because it's the day before Nikanor, Nikanor is the 13th, now we're going to say no. It's Asur B'Tainus on the 12th. We don't say such a thing. For sure, with a Kolsh game, we're not going to have a Yontif on the day before Yom HaNikanor when there's a tzara on that day that happened, meaning the 12th of Adar. Now we understand why the Mishnah Megillah says that if they were makdim to read the Megillah on the 12th of Adar, then it's mutter behesped v'tainus. My Nikanor, my Turyanus. The Sanya we learned in the Brisa Nikanor Echad mi iparche hayevanim haya. This is mamish a great Gemara to learn on Chanukah. We're talking about the Greeks and one of their anti-Semitic vicious officers. B'chol yom v'yom, during the battle over Jerusalem, on a daily basis, he would wave his hands against Yehuda v'Yushalayim and he would declare, Amos Tipo biyadi, when is my battalion going to crush the Jewish resistance in Yerushalayim? The Armesena, and I will completely destroy the Jewish people. But Kishagavra Malchus Beis Chashmonoi V'Nitzchum. Now we're going to get our vengeance against this anti-Semite, this Hitler-type person named Nicanor. And again, it's hard for me to read the next Gemara. It's very torturous. Katetsu bonus Yadav Raglov. They cut off his toes and his fingers. Tloim b'shar Yerushalayim, and they hung up his body. Again, I think the Chashmonaim were like, the tough guys over here. The Amru, his mouth that spoke words of blasphemy as if he's the great power that's going to defeat Yerushalayim. V'yadayim shahayu Yerushalayim, and those hands that he waved against Jerusalem, I'm going to destroy this whole city. Te'asa b'hem nekama. So that happened on the 13th of Adar, and they made it into a yontif because God turned the tables around and Nicanor was destroyed. Maharsha explains that Katzitzu Bahonos Yadav, that's Keneged Mashi Nifam Keneged Yerushalayim, that I understand. And Bahonos Raglov, Keneged Masha Omar Ve'ermasena, that I will destroy, I will crush them with my legs, so to speak. Heshayim Medaber Begaiva, so Ech Asubo Nakama, is Maharsha brings Yerushalmi Shechatchu Es Rosha. All right, they cut off his head as well. My Turyanus, who is this murdering anti-Semite by the name of Turyanus, and God will bring about his vengeance. Amru v'bikesh Turyanus laragus lul Yonis upapus achiv belutkaya. What happened was that the daughter of the Roman emperor was murdered, not by Jews, but the Romans used it as an excuse. I'm just waiting 1 second. Is this? Just want to make sure I got that right. Excuse me. In my commentary, it just says Bas Hamela. Just see if by chance, maybe by chance in the English, he'll give it a little bit more. Second. 16, let's see. The emperor's daughter was murdered. He doesn't tell you. I thought it was Rome, but I may be making a mistake. Anyway, you have anything in your translation? What nation are we talking about? I think it's either Greece or Rome. I'm not sure. Rome?
Rome.
Rome. Okay, so I got it right.
Bitoshela Caesar.
Caesar would be Rome, the Roman Caesar. Right, so these two Jews, in order to save the Jewish people, they offered themselves to be sacrificed and said it looks like as if we killed them. So Omar Lahem, now this Turyonis is a blasphemer. So he says to them, Imi Amoshel, you belong to the nation of Hanani, Mishael, Vazariah, Yava Lokechem, V'yatzil Eschem Miyadi. Let's see if you can save yourself and I won't be able to kill you. Kiderech Shehitzil Hanania, Mishael, Vazariah, Miyad Nebuchadnezzar. King of Babel. Right, they were thrown into the Kivshan Aish because they refused to bow down to the statue of the king, and they walked out of the Kivshan Aish with unscathed. Amru lo. Chananya Mishal Vazayit Tzadikim Gemurim Hayu. Ru'uyim Hayu Le'asas Lemnes. But you have to understand that a nes has to have an impact on the goyim who are trying to kill us. And therefore, Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Hagun Hoya, when he witnessed Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, that they weren't burnt in the Kivshan, he was Modet HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is in the 3rd chapter of Daniel, Sefer Daniel. And therefore, Royal Asos Nes Al Yoda. So they deserve the Nes, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, and the Nes would achieve its goal because Nebuchadnezzar would recognize the hand of God. But also Russia, they spoke to Turianus in 3rd person, Ejodhu. He's like the lowest of the low. Even if a miracle happened, he's going to find some, just turn his back on the miracle. Eino royally also Nes al Yodo, right? Because in a funny sort of sense, Nebuchadnezzar, by throwing Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah in the Kivshan, Nebuchadnezzar, brought about this miracle. But Torianos, you don't deserve to be bringing about a miracle. The honor, and also, we don't deserve a miracle because Mishum Chataenu Ba'averos Yeshesha Misas Beznis Chayavnu Kloyel Amok. We deserve to die. I don't know if they knew for sure that they had. It's hard for me to believe that they knew that they were deserving of death, but Kosh Baruch Hu's medagdek with tzaddikim kichud hasayra. Im ein atar again. Look, Mr. Turianis, if you don't want to, if you don't kill us, then harbe hargim yesh lo lamakom. God has many shluchim. He'll punish us for our sins. Harbe dubim varayos yesh lo lamakom ba'olam shepogim banu ba'hargim osanu. We could die at the hands of a vicious beast. Elo lo misaranu hakadosh baruch hu biyadcha. Ella, God threw us and our lot into your hands to test you and to see if you'll go through with it, this murder. And asidli para damenu miyadecha. And after you kill us, God will avenge our blood. Afal Pikain, even after this warning, Hargon miyad, he immediately had them destroyed. And then Amru, the history books tell us, Elo Zazmisham, he didn't even move from the spot, this Turianos. Achebo Diofle Romi. Oh, this supports that this was, proves that this was Romi. The 2 officers came from Romi, Patsuas Mocho Begizrin. Right? They had these sticks and they just pierced through his brains. And that became a yontif. I just want to see. So he doesn't tell you why did these officers kill him? Let's just see. 20. Shucks. I was hoping somebody would say a word here. Maybe you have it in your translation as to why these Roman officers, I don't know, this was also a miracle, I guess. And then now the question is, how do you set up that day, the 13th of Adar, as a holiday when we lost 2 great Hasidim on that day? The Mishnah says, "Ein goes in tainis al tzibur betchila bechamish." Then goes in tainis al tzibur ashay chadashim, or on Chanukah and Purim. But in Ischilu ein mafsikin, according to Rabbi Gamliel, once they began the fast, either 1 day of fasting or 3 days of fasting, then finish the fasts, even on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and Purim. That's the opinion of Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Meir says that even though Rabbi Gamliel says we will fast once we started, but ein mafsikin, we won't complete the fast. We'll break the fast before nightfall in honor of Chanukah, Purim, Rosh Chodesh. So the Gemara asks two opinions. Kama havi haskola. What does it mean he started fasting? Rav Acha Amar Shalosh. They did 3 full tainios, 1 cycle of Sheni, Chamishi, and Sheni. Rav Asi Amar Tainis Achas. 1 is enough. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav Zo Divrei Rabbi Meir Shomishum Rabbi Gamliel. That even though we started fasting, we will fast, but we won't complete the fast. Chachamim hold we will complete the fast if we already started. Dorash Marzutri Mishmei Rav Huna halacha we paskin that misane umashlim, like the Chachamim, that we will actually fast the entire fast. Adron Alecha Seder Tanios, and now in the 3rd parak, Seder Tanios Elu Ha'amur, all these Seder Tanios, we start with 3, and then another 3, and then 7. That's only Biravia Rishona at the beginning of the rainy season when the rains didn't fall. Aval, but if we have a more dangerous situation, like Alat Smochin, Sheshinu, that there's something that's damaging the plants. Let's say, for example, thorns are growing, thistles. Masriyan aleim umisanim aleim miyat. We don't wait until this whole, to the 2nd day of the week, the 5th day of the week, the 2nd day of the week. We begin the fasting immediately. So all that we learned in the Mishnah about the different, if it's not, there's no rain on the 17th of Cheshvan, there's no rain by Aleph Kislev. All these dates are relevant to Menias Geshamim. Atziris Geshamim, but it has no relevance to other situations which are dangerous, in which immediately we're knowing all the chumras of the tainios. And by the way, we're going to accept the chumras of the last set of tainios. And mispalin bahem, masriyam and shofros. We don't have time now to play games with lower, more lenient tainios building up to a crescendo. We jump right into the most intense level. Let's say, for example, there's a 40-day period in which the Geshamim didn't come down. Masriyan aleim, immediately we take it upon ourselves for the tainios chamuros. Mipneishi makas pitzoros. This is going to be a terrible drought. Yardu litzmachim avalo yardu leilon. We need light rain for the vegetation. We need heavy rain for the Peros ha'ilon, for the fruits, and we didn't get both. Le'ilon v'lo litzmachim is lazeh lazeh avalo lebaras sichramar. We have no water for drinking. Is masriyan aleim miyad. We have to immediately begin the most chamor tainios. V'chein ir shelo yardu alei geshamim. Imagine you have many cities in a circle, and one city didn't get rain. That's clearly a sign from Shamayim, a klola, that we have to do tshuva and we should start tainios. And that city is in grave danger. Kirichsiv, the nevuah of Amos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rebukes the Jewish people, and he brings upon them a famine, a drought and a famine, and they didn't do tshuva in the 4th parak of Amos. And it says, Himtarti al ir achas, al ir achas lo amtir. Chelka achas timotev, chelka asher lo tamtir ole tivot. God will make a sign that he's bringing about a cloth, that one city will have rain and a contiguous city will not. One part of a field or a city will have rain, and the other part of the city will not have rain. And therefore, on the top of the Yutes Amud Aleph, Osa ha'ir mis'ana u'misras. the city that doesn't have rain, they have to go full force with like the 7 last tinios that we spoke about Atzirus Geshamim, Bisvivosel Misanos Velo Masrios, but there's a lowercase fast for the cities around them that surround them that have rain. Meaning they too will suffer as a result of the fact that one city doesn't have rain. It's going to deplete all their, their resources. Meaning, when I say resources, I mean their food, because if one city doesn't have rain, they're going to start buying up the food at any price they can. Rabbi Kiva Omer Masrios Velo Misanos. Okay, tomorrow, Mirz Hashem, B'li Neder, we'll start with Rabbi Akiva here on Daf Yutes Amud Aleph. Okay, then. So I wish you a great day. Thank you so much.